Your labs are important. So what do I mean when I say labs? The blood work, your blood work. Your blood work is crucially and vitally important to establishing a baseline for you. So that way you know what you should and should not be doing. Labs are broken up into various different categories to let you know how well you're doing on dialysis. But the two most important labs that they do are potassium and phosphorus. Why potassium and phosphorus? Because those are the two things inside your body that can cause the most damage if left out of control and unchecked. It's also just as important to understand what all of this stuff does. So if you have to like Google or ask somebody, you should educate yourself on what all of this stuff does inside your body. So potassium can be very dangerous, right? Because the more potassium that you have in your body, the higher the risk of you having a heart attack. It's up too high, boom, and it'll just happen. No warning. And whereas you could survive a heart attack, you also could die from a heart attack. And phosphorus. Phosphorus, when you're in your formative years of your life, like as a child, phosphorus is good for your body because it helps develop bone density. It makes your bones strong. But phosphorus in excess can actually do the reverse. It can damage your bones. So a normal person wouldn't have to worry about this, right? Because you eliminate potassium and phosphorus when you urinate, right? Or when you go to the bathroom. Your kidneys are integral to eliminating those two things from the body. But when you have kidney disease, obviously your kidneys aren't working properly. So that becomes more challenging for the body to do. That's why your doctor puts you on binders. And it's very important to take the binders. So if you're a dialysis patient, like this is one of the reasons why they stress like the potassium and the phosphorus. Like they're two things that can damage your body or in your life the most out of everything else. But at the same time, those are two things that you can also do something about. So how do these two things, potassium and phosphorus, actually enter the body? Well, a lot of it is in the food you eat. The more foods that you have with high potassium and high phosphorus, the higher your potassium and phosphorus are going to be inside your body when they do your labs. So what should you do? My recommendation, right? This is what I do. I do a lot of research on things if I don't understand something, right? Do the research. If not, ask your doctor. Ask your nurse. What foods should I be avoiding, or which foods should I cut back on until I have my baseline, my labs come in, and then I can actually see how much of these two particular things I have, too much of inside my body. And then from there, you can start making decisions about what to do. So for me, and this is what I do, right? I get the labs back. If something is too high, then I make minor adjustments in my life to bring those things down, right? Now, for me, my potassium and my phosphorus are never just like out of control, but they do increase from time to time. So I try to keep a mental track of all of the things that I'm like intaking that would cause those numbers to increase. And I say to myself, okay, so last month or, whenever they do the labs, okay, my phosphorus was a tad bit high. But that's because of this factor, and this factor. Okay, so I'll cut down on this, and this. And then they'll do the labs again. So then once they do the labs again, then I'll see for sure, if my dietary changes have made a difference. And I know that there's some people that don't like needles and they don't like getting stuck, and I get it. I do get it. And there's some people out there that would just be like, oh, well, I don't care. We're all going to die anyway. So I don't care what the labs say. But here's the thing about that, right? You ain't dead yet. Okay? And this is not some super positive rah-rah like BS. It's not what this is. Right? But I hear people with that philosophy, and it's like, but you ain't dead yet. Right? So wouldn't you want to be as comfortable as you can while you're alive? Or just drag yourself to a miserable death? You could either take the necessary steps to feel good while you're still living or not. And I know which choices that I would make. Personally, I would prefer to just like learn what the labs mean and like keep both my legs, then just blow it off, and now I'm in a wheelchair with no legs. Or I'm in the hospital for 2 weeks. Or I get taken off the transplant list. Or I end up in a coma. Or I have to have a limb amputated. Or I go blind. Me personally, I'm more scared of not knowing than I am of finding out. Now, I have some experience with this in my family, but if I have cancer, I want to know. That's information that I want to be privy to.